With the only undefeated team on a bye week this week, can the only team without a win finally get one against the Commanders? The 49ers and Vikings battle each other in a potential playoff preview. Which one came out on top this time? And in the battle of the Bills versus Belichick, which team took the victory to lead the AFC East? All this and more coming up here on Tecmo Rewind. Hello everyone and welcome to Tecmo Rewind. I'm your host Joe, here to bring you all the highlights from around the league. We are done with week 7 and I'm going to let you guys know this has been a fun, if chaotic and very confusing season here in the Tecmo NFL. But I think you guys have been enjoying it. I'm glad you've been on this journey to join me with looking through how this league has gone. And honestly, I can't wait to see how things go. We're near the middle of the season, but we still got plenty of ways to go and some teams that really want to try and save this season if they can. Starting with the first two teams we'll be covering, the Atlanta Falcons and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Rashad White making a return for Tampa Bay. They might need him. First quarter, Mayfield, play action, going to look for O'Keefe. Instead, he finds A.J. Terrell on the first drive the Buccaneers have. So the Falcons' first drive, Ritter going to hand it off to Cordero Patterson for a 14-yard touchdown run. Puts the Falcons up 7-0 to start the game. On the next drive for the Buccaneers, Mayfield wrapped up and taken down by Bud Dupree, sends him back 6 yards to force the punt. Falcons would drive down the length of the field, and Ritter would hook up with Mac Hollins on a 14-yard touchdown catch to make it 14-0 Falcons. Not to be outdone, Mayfield going to hook up with Mike Evans for a 28-yard touchdown, makes it 14-7 Falcons. On the ensuing drive, man in motion for Atlanta. Bijan Robinson gets the toss. Unfortunately, he fumbles it, and Devin White of the Buccaneers is going to scoop it up and score it, tie up the game at 14. Falcons on the next drive would drive down the field. However, Elijah Cansey going to make a 3-yard sack on Desmond Ritter. On the very next play, though, Ritter going to hand it off to Cordero Patterson yet again. 21-yard touchdown run with a little bit of a struggle makes it 21-14 Falcons, and we're not even into the second quarter yet. In the second quarter, Mayfield gets wrapped up and taken down 6 yards back by Bud Dupree, and that's the least of their problems on Tampa because now Baker Mayfield is hurt, so Kyle Trask is going to have to come in to replace him. They would be forced to punt, and Atlanta would drive down the field, allowing this setup of Ritter handing off to Bijan Robinson. What a year he's been having. 18-yard touchdown makes it 28-14 Falcons. On the ensuing Buccaneers drive, Kyle Trask wrapped up by Calais Campbell. A bit of a struggle. He breaks free. However, that's enough for Grady Jarrett to get him and sack him. That means the Buccaneers have to rely on a 34-yard field goal by Chase McLaughlin. It's 28-17. On the ensuing drive for the Falcons, Ritter going to hand it off to Bijan Robinson, who will break free, and he is going to make it a 51-yard run to get him all the way to about the 26. Couple plays later for the Falcons, Ritter going to do it again, hand it off to Robinson, and Robinson going to break a tackle and just break free for the touchdown. 35-17 Falcons take the lead. Near the end of the half, Trask throws for Chris Godwin, and Godwin, oh, if only he had the room to make this touchdown. Unfortunately, he's taken down as time expires. Third quarter, Ritter going to throw for Bijan Robinson. Instead, he finds Jamel Dean, who's going to come off and nearly makes it a pick 6. But the Falcons defense stops him, or rather the offense. Falcons defense does stop the Bucs. However, they do get Chase McLaughlin to make a 26-yard field goal, 35-20. On the ensuing drive, Bijan Robinson gets the ball and he fumbles it, but he fumbles it out of bounds safely. Couple plays later, Ritter going to get wrapped up and taken down by Logan Hall. So on the very next play, Younghoe Koo going to sail it in from 32 yards out. It's 38-20 Falcons. On the ensuing drive for the Buccaneers, Trask going to get found and taken down by Calais Campbell for a 7-yard sack. They're forced to punt. Falcons can't quite do enough with it, so they got to rely on Younghoe Koo's leg again. 41-20 Falcons. Trask on the next drive for the Buccaneers, getting wrapped up and fumbles the ball. Fortunately for him, O'Keefe is able to recover the fumble, and he's not quite able to get the first down. Fourth quarter, fourth down, Trask going to throw for Rashad White. It's incomplete, so it's a turnover on downs. Ritter going to hand it off to Bijan Robinson, who will run it in from 9 yards out. It's 48-20 Falcons. However, Trask going to throw for Mike Evans for a 17-yard touchdown in garbage time. It's 48-26 because Chase McLaughlin's extra point is blocked by the Falcons defense. And the Falcons just going to drive down the field, and Bijan Robinson gets one more punch in of a touchdown. 55-26. Atlanta going to come away with the victory here. They go to 4-2, and they head to Tennessee next week. Meanwhile, Tampa drops to 2-4, and they have to head up to Western New York to take on the Buffalo Bills. Vegas headed to Chicago this week to take on the Bears. First quarter, Jimmy Garoppolo going to get wrapped up and taken down by Tremaine Edmonds for an 8-yard sack. Very next play, Garoppolo, man in motion, drops back, and this time it's Justin Jones to send it back 8 yards. They drive down the field into Chicago territory. However, Garoppolo gets sacked again, this time by TJ Edwards. Very next play, though, Garoppolo looks and fires to his right for Jacoby Myers, who's in the end zone already. 35-yard touchdown makes it 7-0 Raiders. On the ensuing drive for the Bears, Fields hands it off to Khalil Herbert, and Herbert is going to fumble the ball and is going to get picked up by Max Crosby, so the Raiders get the ball again. However, as they drive down the field, Garoppolo going to get sacked near midfield by Andrew Billings. On the very next play, though, Garoppolo in shotgun formation. Who's he looking for? Jacoby Myers. And he finds him, and no one is anywhere close to him. So it's 14-0 Vegas. On the ensuing kick return, though, Velus Jones Jr. is going to show why he might just be the next Devin Hester, as he's going to take this one 38 yards. But unfortunately, the Bears couldn't do anything with it. Second quarter, this pass for Jacoby Myers intercepted by Jalen Johnson, so Chicago gets another chance with it. They drive down the field, and Fields, he's going to take this one in himself. A 20-yard touchdown puts the Bears on the board. It's 14-6, though, because Cairo Santos mixed the extra point. He doinks it. Chicago and doinks. Name a more iconic duo. Jacoby Myers gets a 20-yard touchdown to make it 21-6 for the Raiders later on. However, this pass for Cole Kmet gets picked off by Marcus Epps. They drive down the field thanks to a Josh Jacobs 42-yard run that gets him into the end zone. And a couple plays later, Garoppolo looks to his right, fires for who else? Jacoby Myers. 13-yard touchdown makes it 28-6 Raiders. On the ensuing drive for the Bears, Chandler Jones going to get to Justin Fields for a 3-yard sack. And Cairo Santos going to have to boot it in himself. This time he makes it 28-9 as we go into halftime. Third quarter, Fields with a man in motion, going to try and play action, but he fumbles the ball on the tackle. Marcus Peters gets a 7-yard scoop and score to make it 35-9. On the next drive for Chicago, Fields with the play action rolls to his right. Who's he looking for? DJ Moore, who they got in a trade with the Panthers for the first overall pick. Fortunately, Panthers might not need him, but the Bears, they still might. The 58-yard catch shows why they need him, and that'll help to set up Fields. Just going to run it in himself. 12-yard touchdown makes it 35-16 Raiders. The Raiders couldn't do anything with it and would punt the ball. This throw for Cole Kmet, an 18-yard touchdown, makes it 35-23. Raiders still have the lead. On the ensuing drive for the Raiders, Josh Jacobs is going to fumble it, but he fumbles it safely out of bounds. They drive down the length field, and Jacobs going to run it in for a 10-yard touchdown. It's 42-23 Raiders. As we go into the fourth quarter, Fields, play action on fourth down, rolls to his right. He's going to look for Darnell Mooney, and Mooney is short, so it's a turnover on downs. So the Raiders, Jack Sanborn is going to get a 10-yard sack on him. But that's all right, because just a couple plays later, Garoppolo, who's he look for? Devontae Adams, 49-23 Raiders. On the ensuing kickoff return, Velus Jones Jr., he's going to take this one 32 yards, try and set up Chicago for maybe a miracle play or two. Fields going to hand it off to Khalil Herbert. A couple plays later, he's going to fumble it, and it's picked up by the Raiders. Marcus Peters going to get the fumble recovery, and all Josh Jacobs needs to do to seal this game, 15-yard touchdown, makes it 56-23 Raiders. However, Justin Fields going to run with it himself. He is going to be taken down just at around midfield, but that's all right, because Fields escapes danger and throws for DJ Moore on 13-yard touchdown catch. They're going to go for the onside kick, and they are going to get it. However, it does not matter. The Raiders get their second win of the season, 56-30. They head to take on a different NFC North team next week in Detroit. Chicago drops to 1-5. They head to take on a different AFC West team in the LA Chargers. A potential battle for the AFC East crown. James Cook returns for the Buffalo Bills as they head to Foxborough to take on the New England Patriots. First quarter, Allen dropping back, runs out of time as Dietrich Wise gets to him and takes him down for an 8-yard sack. A couple plays later, 2nd and 4. Allen going to play action this one, rolls to his left and throws for Stephon Diggs. No one even in his neighborhood. A 60-yard touchdown catch puts the Bills up 7-0. On the ensuing Patriots drive, Zappe going to get taken down by Ed Oliver for a 7-yard sack. They do drive down the length of the field. However, Taron Johnson gets in on the sacking of Zappe, so that means they have to rely on Chad Ryland's leg. A 41-yard field goal goes wide right and doinks. Rare the wide right actually helps the Bills. Still 7-0. On the ensuing drive for the Bills, Stephon Diggs dives for this one, and he is going to get caught up to. But a 55-yard catch is still a 55-yard catch. That'll help set up Allen. Just going to make a 1-yard punch in by handing it off to James Cook. 14-0 Bills. On the ensuing kickoff return, Marcus Jones. Jones has been having a great season as a kick returner. 42-yard kick return. Unfortunately, Patriots have to settle for a 40-yard field goal by Chad Ryland. He makes it this time, 14-3 as we go into the second quarter. In the second quarter, Allen looks patiently and throws for Gabe Davis to his right side. 33-yard touchdown catch makes it 21-3 Buffalo. Then, Patriots drive down the field. Zappe throws for Mike Gesicki. Instead, he finds Tre'Davious White for the interception. And White going to try and set up something. Unfortunately, Bills couldn't quite do anything with it. So on Patriots' next drive, Stevenson going to hand the ball. He's going to fumble it. And he fumbles it out of bounds, thankfully. But Bailey Zappe, a couple plays later, gets taken down by Ed Oliver and sent back. They do drive down the field, and Stevenson going to punch it in from 1 yard out. 21-10 Bills at halftime. Third quarter, Allen going to try and run forward. He gets found. He's fumbled the ball, and it's Jabril Peppers who picks it up for Buffalo. However, Zappe going to give it right back to the Bills. Throws and finds Micah Hyde. Looked like Juju Smith-Schuster was his intended target. On the ensuing drive for the Bills, Lawrence Guy going to get an 8-yard sack to send the Bills back and force them to punt. But on the ensuing drive, Juju Smith-Schuster's attempted catch gets picked off by Micah Hyde yet again. Bailey Zappe not making things too easy, not really helping out his team too much right now. He is struggling, and James Cook going to punch it in for 10 yards out. 28-10 Bills. But Marcus Jones will not be denied. A 39-yard kick return. Going to put the Patriots in a good field position, but Ed Oliver going to have quite a game with how many times he's sacking Bailey Zappe. This attempt to throw from Mike Gesicki. Who else? Micah Hyde. Very next play, Allen looks and throws to his right. It's Gabe Davis. No one's even close to him. 50-yard touchdown makes it 35-10 Bills. Fourth quarter, Zappe on fourth down. Ed Oliver gets the 8-yard sack. It's a turnover on downs, and Buffalo just going to seal this away as Allen runs for his life and throws for Stephon Diggs in the end zone. Touchdown Bills, it's 42-10. Marcus Jones, though, he will not be stopped. Well, okay, he'll be stopped. But a 42-yard kick return. He wants to show he can still give the Patriots life. Very next play, though, pass for Ramondre Stevenson gets picked off by Taron Johnson, who nearly makes it a pick six. Allen going to try and run within himself, and he will succeed on a 13-yard touchdown, makes it 49-10. Marcus Jones, though, you cannot forget about him. Is he going to go for 10? Is he going to go for 20? Is he going to go for 40? Is he going to go for 50? He's going to go for 65! But on the very next play, unfortunately, Bailey Zappe gets sacked by Von Miller, so they got to rely on Chad Ryland's leg for any kind of points. It's 49-13 Bills as they still try to get garbage time points. But they go for the onside kick, and they do get it. So they get to drive down the field. Zappe going to look for Juju Smith-Schuster. This time they connect. 24-yard touchdown makes it 49-20. On the ensuing drive, though, for the Bills, Allen going to get wrapped up and taken down by Josh Uche, but it matters not. Because Tyler Bass just going to try and kick this one in, and he does. A 52-20 victory for the Bills. They go to 5-1 and take control of the AFC East as they take on Tampa Bay next week. New England, though, they go down to Miami, which has been their kryptonite in the past few seasons. Now from an AFC East match of great importance to an NFC East one that's not so much. Antonio Gibson and Terry McLaurin would return for Commanders as they head to New York to take on the Giants. First quarter, Antonio Gibson makes his return known with a bang as he's going to take a 31-yard kick return. That will help to set up Brian Robinson for the 22-yard touchdown as he breaks several tackles. 7-0 Commanders take the lead first. But Gary Brightwell says, hey, kick returners, we come in bunches and we can make great plays. 33-yard kick return. That'll help set up Daniel Jones. 8-yard touchdown run for number 8. Ties the game up at 7. But Antonio Gibson says, this game has just started. I'm going to make yet another amazing looking play. 31-yard kick return. Very next play. Howell going to drop back. Nearly gets sacked, but gets it off in time to Scary Terry. And Scary Terry, he is going to take this one 55 yards. Very next play, Howell going to have a man in motion, and he'll try to run forward with this one. Unfortunately, runs into his lineman, and then gets taken down by Adoree Jackson for the 6-yard sack. But that's okay, because on the very next play, rolls to his right, throws for Jahan Dotson. 16-yard touchdown, makes it 14-7 Commanders. They get the ball back in the second quarter, but Joey Sly going to miss the 51-yard field goal wide left, so it's still a 7-point game. However, Jones's throw for Darren Waller, he does make it, but Waller fumbles the ball and is picked up by Cameron Curl. So, Commanders would get the ball back, but they'd be forced to punt. Then a throw for Darius Slayton. He immediately fumbles after he's tackled after diving for it, but he fumbles it out of bounds. So that means Saquon Barkley can punch it in from 5 yards out. Ties the game at 14. Joey Sly tries to get redemption with a 45-yard field goal, which he will make it 17-14. Commanders have a 3-point lead. Now, to be outdone, Graham Gano with the 52-yard field goal at the end of the half will tie the game up at 17. Third quarter, Giants get the ball first, and Saquon Barkley going to fumble the ball, and it's going to get picked up by Jamin Davis. So the Commanders get another chance, and Howell going to roll to his right and throw for Jahan Dotson. 25-yard touchdown, makes it 23-17 because Joey Sly doinks it off the right upright. But Graham Gano, when he tries for a 64-yarder, unfortunately can't make kicks like those anymore, so it's 30-17 Commanders. Howell going to roll to his right and throw for Jahan Dotson on the ensuing drive. And Dotson, can he? Could he? Will he? He will! It's a 54-yard touchdown to make a 30-17 lead for the Commanders. Then Daniel Jones going to get sacked by Benjamin St. Juste. Very next play, throw for Saquon Barkley gets picked off by Derek Forrest, so the Commanders get the ball back. A couple plays later, Howell going to throw for Scary Terry. Instead, he finds Xavier McKinney, so the Giants get the ball back without much danger. The very next play, Barkley going to fumble the ball yet again. It bounces around. Nobody in blue or white can get it until eventually it's picked up by Jamin Davis. So the Commanders get the ball back. Fourth quarter, Brian Robinson just going to get a 2-yard punch in to make this 37-17 Commanders. Giants try to get some sort of miracle going. Throw for Darius Slayton, picked off by the rookie Emmanuel Forbes. So the Commanders just going to add on to the punishment for the Giants. Forbes nearly makes this a pick 6. That's okay, because Howell just needs to look for Terry McLaurin in the end zone to make it 44-17 on a 16-yard touchdown. Fourth down. Desperation mode throw for Hodgins is way out of bounds. So it's a turnover on downs. Commanders would drive down the field and give it to Brian Robinson for a 2-yard touchdown. 51-17 Commanders. On the ensuing drive, Jones going to try and run with himself. Not able to get the first down, and now he's down. A 6-yard run ends in travesty. As who has to replace him? Tyrod Taylor. A couple plays later, Taylor would get sacked by Cody Barton on a 10-yarder. Very next play, Taylor going to throw for Isaiah Hodgins on 4th down, and he will get him, and he's going to keep going after the first down. A 38-yard 4th down conversion, but Taylor with no time left, going to get sacked by Chase Young. 51-17, the Giants still without a win. They're 0-6. They take on their fellow New York team in the Jets next week. The Giants will be considered the home team. Commanders go to 2-4. they get a division rivalry and a rematch against the Philadelphia Eagles. The Colts know all about the pain of being winless. They were winless until last week. They have to take on the Cleveland Browns, who just got Jerome Ford back this week. First quarter for Cleveland. They're going to drive down the field and give it off to Nick Chubb. Chubb going to run in from 19 yards out, makes it 7-0 Browns. On the ensuing drive for the Colts, Gardner Minshew going to be taken down by Myles Garrett for a 3-yard sack. They drive down the field a little bit more, but they have to rely on Matt Gay for a 47-yard field goal. 7-3, Browns have the lead still. On the Browns' next drive, Watson drops back and throws for Donovan Peoples-Jones. The Peoples-Jones is going to take this one 58 yards. Very next play, Watson drops back yet again, and he throws for Peoples-Jones yet again. This time a 24-yarder that is in the end zone. 14-3 Browns. The ensuing drive for the Colts. Minshew going to throw for Joshua Downs. Downs is going to dodge a tackle, and he is going to not score. He's going to make it a 51-yarder, and they can't do anything within 3 downs, so Matt Gay's 22-yard field goal will have to do. 14-6 Cleveland. On the ensuing drive, Cleveland going to play action this one, roll to his left, and Amari Cooper going to dive for this one and dodge a tackle. 44-yard touchdown makes it 21-6 Cleveland. On the ensuing drive for the Colts, Minshew going to play action, and he's going to get wrapped up and taken down by Zadarius Smith from essentially behind, but not quite. So they're forced to punt. Deshaun Watson will throw for Donovan Peoples-Jones. The Peoples-Jones will make a 62-yard catch. Not quite able to score, but that's all right, because Watson going to throw for Amari Cooper, who will make the 18-yard touchdown to put the Browns up 28-6. For the Colts on their next drive, Minshew going to try and run forward, taken down by Greg Newsome. A couple plays later, Minshew going to try and run forward again. This time it's Zadarius Smith who gets to him. They drive down even slightly further, and Zadarius Smith will get to him yet again for a 4-yard sack. They would make a punt, and so that means that Donovan Peoples-Jones has to try and make good work with it, but he fumbles the ball on the tackle. Colts would recover it, but that's it for halftime. We couldn't quite tell who it was. Third quarter, Deshaun Watson going to get sacked by Samson Ebukam, sends him back 7 yards. Very next play, though, Watson throws for Amari Cooper, who jumps up to get this ball and dodges a tackle in the process. A 50-yard catch. Pretty dang good. Very next play, though, Deshaun Watson, his offensive line gets broken through. Zaire Franklin takes him down for the 10-yard sack. A couple plays later, just handed it off to Nick Chubb. And Nick Chubb going to run it in from 22 yards out, makes it 35-6 Browns. On the next drive for the Colts, Myles Garrett going to get to Gardner Minshew yet again for the 10-yard sack right here. That pushes Indianapolis back even further. But they do drive down the field, and Matt Gay going to try for the 57-yarder, which is wide left. So it's still 35-6. Watson going to get taken down eventually by Kwity Paye as he tries to run forward on a 4-yard sack. But that's all right. They'll drive down the length of the field, and Watson, this time he has running room. He'll make the 9-yard touchdown to make it 42-6 Cleveland. On the ensuing drive for the Colts, Greg Newsome gets to Minshew from behind. A couple plays later, Minshew going to throw for Michael Pittman Jr. He finds an M Jr. It's Martin Emerson Jr. though on Cleveland. He gets the pick. A couple plays later though, Watson going to get sacked by Shaq Leonard. Sends him back 6 yards. But on the Colts' next drive, they get forced a turnover on downs. So on the Browns' next possession, hand it off to Nick Chubb. 26-yard touchdown run after breaking a tackle. Puts the Browns up 49-6. A couple plays later, Minshew, sacked by Anthony Walker, sends him back 9 yards. Very next play, Minshew looks for Alec Pierce. Instead, he finds Martin Emerson Jr. for the second time. So, a couple plays later, Watson just needs to look for Donovan Peoples-Jones, who is going to dive for it and still has enough room that he can make the 46-yard touchdown. 56-6, Browns have the lead. Jordan Elliott going to take down Gardner Minshew, sends him back 7 yards. And a couple plays later, throw for Josh Downs, picked off by Martin Emerson Jr. Neither the Giants nor the Colts had any points in the second half for either of them. Browns win this one 56-6. The lowest score for any team with the Colts at 6 points. They take on New Orleans next week and are at 1-5. Cleveland goes to 4-1, and they head to Seattle. Speaking of the Saints, they were taking on a different AFC South team this weekend, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Travis Etienne comes back for Jacksonville, and Rashid Shaheed comes back for New Orleans. First quarter, Lawrence dropping back on the first drive of the game for the Jaguars. Throw for Calvin Ridley. Due to Lawrence's injury, these two haven't really been able to hook up nearly as much as he would have liked after week 1. Still, 51-yard catch, good way for them to reunite. Very next play, however, Lawrence going to get taken out from behind by Pete Werner. Very next play after that, he gets taken down by Cameron Jordan, who finds him in the back for an 8-yard sack. Very next play after that, Lawrence tries to run for it himself. He fumbles the ball, bounces around a bit before it's finally picked up by Evan Ingram. And this is technically going to be a scoop and score on a 29-yarder. It's 7-0 Jaguars. Saints were forced to punt on their first drive of the game. Lawrence gets sacked by Cameron Jordan on the next drive Jacksonville has, so they're forced to punt very next play. Rashid Shaheed, he is going to fumble the ball, and it's going to get picked up by Evan Ingram yet again. Can he? Could he? Will he? He will have a 51-yard scoop and score. It's 14-0 on the ensuing kickoff. Rashid Shaheed gets another chance at this. Rashid Shaheed, a 41-yard kick return. I'd say that redeems him for the fumble that he lost. A couple plays later, they toss it to Alvin Kamara. Kamara going to run forward with it, and he is going to fumble it, but he fumbles it out of bounds. A couple plays after this, Carr going to try and run forward, and he's taken down from behind by Trayvon Walker for a 1-yard sack. They do drive down the field and hand it to Alvin Kamara in the second quarter. 14-7, Saints still trailing by 7. Lawrence tries to run forward, but he's taken down by Alontae Taylor. So, on the very next play, he throws for Evan Ingram, but he finds Paulson Adebo. And Adebo, he is going to get pretty close to making this a pick 6, but he stopped before he can. Very next play, Carr tries to run forward, but he's taken down by Foye Oluokun. So that means they have to rely on Blake Grupe's leg. 31-yard field goal makes this a 14-10 game. Jaguars still have the lead on the Jaguars' next drive. Lawrence going to get taken down by Nathan Shepard for an 8-yard sack. They do drive down the field and toss it to Travis Etienne for a 1-yard touchdown run, makes it 21-10. On the next drive for the Saints, Carr is going to drop back. He's going to throw for Rashid Shaheed, but he finds Darius Williams instead. Williams going to take this one not quite into Saints territory, and the Jaguars can't really do anything with it before halftime. In the third quarter, Chris Olave going to get a nice-looking touchdown pass from Carr for a 10-yarder, 21-17. Shanks Bigsby on the ensuing kickoff return fumbles it, but he fumbles it out of bounds. A couple plays later, Christian Kirk, Captain Kirk, he is going to take this one deep, dodges some tackles. He will eventually get taken down in the red zone. Very next play, however, Lawrence in shotgun formation. He's going to look for Christian Kirk yet again and finds him. This time he does score for a 19-yard touchdown, 28-17 Jaguars. On the ensuing drive for the Saints, Carr going to drop back and throw for Chris Olave. Olave not going to be found or taken down. 46-yard touchdown makes it 28-24. On the ensuing drive for the Jaguars, Lawrence going to drop back. He's going to then try to run forward, but he gets taken down by Alontae Taylor before he can really do anything. They're forced to punt in the fourth quarter. Carr going to get taken down from behind by Roy Robertson for a 7-yard sack. Then Carr going to hand it off to Alvin Kamara. Kamara going to get taken down and fumbles the ball. It's picked up by Rayshawn Jenkins. And Jenkins is going to take this one into pretty modest Saints territory. One's going to throw for Evan Ingram again, but he's picked off again by Paulson Adebo. But after a couple punts, Alvin Kamara gets taken down in the end zone, so it's a safety, 30-24 on the ensuing drive. Lawrence looking and firing for Zay Jones over the middle, and Jones is going to put this one away, 37-24. Jaguars still have the lead. In the ensuing drive for the Saints, throw from Michael Thomas from Derek Carr. Thomas going to take this one into Jaguars territory, and he's going to fumble the ball, and it's recovered by Foye Oluokun. Oluokun has pretty much just put this game out of reach. Nothing the Saints can do, even if they were to get the ball back, unless they had a miracle. Lawrence going to drop back in that drive and get taken down by Cameron Jordan, but it does not matter, because off the leg of Brandon McManus, McManus going to make it 40-24. That'll be the final score between these two. Jacksonville, they go to 2-3 and they head to Pittsburgh next week. New Orleans, like we said, they head to Indianapolis. They drop to 1-5 in a rematch of one of the best Super Bowls on record. Speaking of rematches of great Super Bowls, the Packers took on the Broncos this week. A.J. Dillon makes the return for Green Bay, so that's yet another great weapon for Jordan Love. But it doesn't matter when you have Aaron Jones as your running back. Jones going to just barely avoid being tackled short of the touchdown, 49-yarder, puts the Packers up to start 7-0. Wilson tries to play action roll to his right, but Jair Alexander and the defense was waiting for him. A 10-yard sack that forced a punt. Green Bay drives down the length of the field, and Anders Carlson makes a 34-yard field goal to put the Packers up 10-0. On the ensuing kickoff return, it's Samaje Perine who is going to take this one 29 yards. And the reason we show this is because he gets hurt. So that means Tyler Beatty is going to have to come in for kick returns and punt returns for Denver. On the ensuing drive, Wilson, play action roll to his right. They were waiting for that again. Rashawn Gary gets him an 11-yard sack, forces the Broncos to have to make a 58-yard field goal later on, put them down only 10-3. But Aaron Jones going to make it 17-3 with a 12-yard touchdown run in which he broke a tackle. Yet again for the Broncos, Wilson tries to play action roll to his right, but the defense punishes him severely with a 7-yard safety, 19-3 Packers. Very next play, Kayshawn Nixon. He is going to break some tackles as he takes this one almost into Denver territory. Unfortunately, Green Bay couldn't do anything with it. Quay Walker then gets to Russell Wilson on the ensuing drive for the Broncos, so they're forced to punt. On the ensuing drive, Love gets taken out from behind on a strip sack. Justin Simmons going to recover the ball. So they drive down the field a few more yards, and Wilson going to throw for Brandon Johnson over the middle. That 13-yard touchdown makes it 19-10. On the ensuing kickoff return, Kayshawn Nixon not done with the heroic fireworks just yet. He's going to take this one 46 yards. He's finally taken down at midfield. A couple plays later, Love going to throw for who else? Christian Watson, his favorite target, a 51-yard touchdown that already was in the red zone by the time he got it. 26-10 Packers at the half. Quay Walker gets to Russell Wilson in the third quarter, sends him back 10 yards. They do drive down the field. Will Lutz kicks a 43-yarder, makes it 26-13, doinks it off that left upright. But A.J. Dillon, he shows why him coming back is good. 4-yard touchdown run makes it 33-13. Then, just barely getting it off, Wilson throws for Jerry Jeudy. Can he? Could he? Will he? He won't. But it's a 59-yard catch. Still pretty good. Wilson, a couple plays later. You know what? He's just going to take it himself. He's already in danger. Why not make a 20-yard touchdown run? 33-20. Packers still have the lead. However, on the ensuing drive for the Packers, Zach Allen gets to Jordan Love. 9-yard sack. But they drive down the field, and Aaron Jones punches it in from 1 yard out. 40-20. A couple plays later, Wilson going to throw for Cortland Sutton, and he overthrows him and instead finds Rasul Douglas, who gets the pick. The Packers forced to punt, but a throw for Jerry Jeudy, a 56-yard touchdown catch. This will help the damage be mitigated. It'll be 40-27 off that 56-yarder. However, Love just going to put it away fully with a 42-yard touchdown catch by Christian Watson, makes it 47-27. In garbage time, Wilson, playing for pride, throws for Jerry Jeudy, a 37-yard touchdown, makes it 47-34. That would be our final score. Green Bay going to improve to 4-1. They get division rival Minnesota next week. Denver drops to 2-4. They get a rematch against their own division rival in the Kansas City Chiefs, this time happening in snowy Colorado. Steelers heading to LA to take on the Rams. First quarter, Matt Stafford going to get taken down by Larry Ogunjobi for an 8-yard sack. They're forced to punt. On the Steelers' ensuing drive, Kenny Pickett going to get taken down by Bobby Brown III on a 7-yard sack. But they do drive down the field a little more, and a handoff to Najee Harris becomes a fumble that Byron Young will recover for the Rams. Very next play, however, Stafford in shotgun formation going to get found and taken down by Montravius Adams for a 9-yard sack. Plays later, Stafford looks to his left and throws for Van Jefferson. Instead, he finds DeMonte Kazi, who gets the pick. So, Steelers just toss it to Najee Harris. This time he holds onto the ball and doesn't get taken down. 25-yard touchdown puts the Steelers up for 7-0. On the ensuing drive for the Rams, Stafford going to get found and taken down by Cameron Hayward before he can really get away. So they're forced to punt, and Najee Harris in the second quarter going to punch him in from 2 yards out. 14-0 Steelers. However, Matthew Stafford does get some offense as he throws to Tutu Atwell for the 17-yard touchdown, 14-7. But a couple plays later, Deontay Johnson gets a touchdown of his own from 16 yards out, 21-7. Steelers still have the lead. In the end of the half, throw for Tutu Atwell. Atwell, can he? Could he? Will he? He won't. It's a 58-yarder, but it's at the end of the half, so it doesn't matter. Third quarter, Landon Roberts gets a sack on Matthew Stafford. 9-yard sack that forced a punt. Najee Harris punches in from 1 yard out, makes it 28-7 Steelers. On the ensuing Rams drive, the throw for Cam Akers gets picked off by Minkah Fitzpatrick, so the Steelers get another chance with it. Chris Boswell tries for a 55-yard field goal. Unfortunately, it is wide right, so it's still a 21-point game. Stafford does drive down the field, but Landon Roberts gets another sack on him. Very next play, though, Stafford dropping back, throws for Tutu Atwell. Atwell going to make a 26-yard touchdown, makes it 28-14 now. On the ensuing drive for the Steelers, pickup throws for Deontay Johnson, and Johnson immediately wrapped up and taken down. He fumbles it. It's picked up by Jordan Fuller of the Rams. So, fourth quarter, Stafford going to run to his left, throws in for Cooper Kupp, barely avoids getting tackled while throwing for Cooper Kupp. 22-yard touchdown, makes it 28-21. We have a game now. Pat Freiermuth fumbles the ball on the ensuing Steelers drive. It's picked up by the Rams. Couldn't quite tell who it was, but they drive down the field. Stafford throws for Cooper Kupp. Kupp going to tie this game up at 28 off that 35-yarder. Then Kenny Pickett gets sacked by Ernest Jones, 11-yard sack. They do get chances to throw for Deontay Johnson. Johnson going to make this one a 57-yard catch. He's going to get into Rams territory with not much time left in the game. Pickett going to play action roll to his right. Who's he throwing for? Deontay Johnson. Johnson, he's going to score a 32-yard touchdown. Puts the Rams down by 7 as the Steelers have the lead. Throw for Van Jefferson. He's going to get taken down, so they have to call their second timeout. Last play of the game. Stafford in shotgun formation, throws for Tutu Atwell. Atwell, can he try it this time? He fumbles the ball and it's picked up by Cole Holcomb. Cole Holcomb going to put this one away at the end of the game. Steelers win this one 35-28 in a close one as the Steelers prevent the Rams from fully coming back. Steelers get the Jaguars next week. The Rams head to Dallas. Pittsburgh 3-2, LA 2-3 or 2-4. Apologize. Meanwhile, the Rams division rivals, the Cardinals and Seahawks, played each other. Keontae Ingram, James Conner, and Greg Dortch all returned for the Cardinals. Geno Smith gets sacked first quarter by Dennis Carter. They're forced to punt. On the ensuing drive for the Cardinals, James Conner fumbles the ball, and it's Josh Dobbs there to secure it. That means they have to rely on Matt Prater's leg. 26-yard field goal puts the Cardinals up 3-0. However, on the next drive for the Seahawks, Smith going to look to his right and throw for Tyler Lockett. 7-3, Seahawks take the lead. They get another score in the end zone, but this time it's on the Cardinals drive as Josh Dobbs gets sacked by Draymond Jones for a safety. 9-3. Ensuing drive for the Seahawks, Smith going to get found before he's taken down by Jonathan Ledbetter for the 8-yard sack. They're forced to punt. Second quarter, Dobbs throws for Hollywood Brown. Instead, he finds Quandre Diggs, who picks him off. However, for the Seahawks, Smith going to try and run forward. He eventually gets taken out by Zaven Collins for a 3-yard sack. They're forced to punt. Greg Dortch gets the punt return. However, he is injured on this 16-yard punt return. He just came off of the injury. So that means Keontae Ingram, who also just came off of injury, has to fill in for him. Cardinals have been having problem with injuries lately, which is why they don't have Kyler Murray. They were forced to punt. And on the next drive for the Seahawks, Smith just hooks up with Jackson Smith-Njigba, who jumps up to get this 52-yard touchdown catch. 16-3 Seahawks going into the half. On the ensuing drive for the Seahawks, Smith going to hand it off to Kenneth Walker III. He's going to fumble the ball on the tackle, but it's recovered by Abe Lucas, the lineman. A couple plays later, Smith, however, gets taken down by Kaiser White. So that means they have to rely on Jason Myers' leg. 59-yard field goal puts the Seahawks up 19-3. On the ensuing drive for the Cardinals, Dobbs going to get strip sacked. It's going to get picked up by Mario Edwards, and Edwards going to break a tackle as he gets to the end zone on the scoop and score. 26-3 Seahawks. Ensuing drive for the Cardinals, a strip fumble of James Conner goes out of bounds. That means they have to rely on Matt Prater's leg. This one a 52-yarder. He used to have the record for longest field goal, and this time he will doink it off the right upright. It's no good. So, fourth quarter. Seahawks. Smith drops back, looks and fires for Tyler Lockett, finds him diving in the end zone. 25-yard touchdown puts the Seahawks up 33-3. However, Dobbs going to throw for Michael Wilson to his right. 44-yard touchdown makes it 33-10 Seahawks. But on the ensuing drive for the Seahawks, Smith connects with Noah Fant to make it 40-10. On the ensuing drive for the Cardinals, Dobbs is going to get taken down in the backfield by Jerron Reed for the 10-yard sack. A couple plays later, throw for Marquise Hollywood Brown is going to be a touchdown. No, it's just shy of a touchdown. That's all right. Dobbs going to connect instead with Zach Ertz, or at least he would have liked to. Instead, he finds Jamal Adams, who picks him off in the end zone. And just to add more pain to the Cardinals, throw for Tyler Lockett is going to be a 59-yard touchdown. The Seahawks pull away with an easy victory in this one, 47-10 over the Cardinals. Cardinals only have one win still. They're 1-5, and they take on Baltimore next week. Meanwhile, Seattle, they go to 3-2, and they get to take on an AFC North opponent of their own as they take on the Cleveland Browns. Well, we mentioned the Ravens. They were taking on the Detroit Lions this week. Lamar Jackson and J.K. Dobbins come back for a desperate Baltimore team that's 1-4. First quarter, Jackson going to throw for Odell Beckham Jr., and he is going to fumble the ball, and it's going to get picked up by Emmanuel Mosley, who's going to take this one back to about midfield. Later on in the Lions' drive, Goff going to get found and taken down by David Ojabo for the 8-yard sack. That means they have to rely on Riley Patterson's leg. Going to kick it in from 22 yards out and make the Lions go up 3-0. On the ensuing Ravens drive, however, Jackson drives down the field, and then he throws for Odell Beckham Jr. to his right. Beckham's going to score it. It's 7-3 Ravens. On the ensuing drive for the Lions, Goff dropping back. Who's he going to throw for? Amon-Ra St. Brown, who leaps up to get this one. Can he? Could he? Will he? No, but he will make it a 54-yard catch. Second quarter, still same drive. Lions. Goff hands it off to David Montgomery. Punches it in for 4 yards out. 10-7 Lions. On the ensuing drive for the Ravens, Jackson, play action, rolls to his right. Who's he looking for? OBJ. Odell Beckham Jr. Can he? Could he? Will he? No! And to make it worse, he fumbles it, and it's picked up by Cam Sutton of the Lions, who's going to take it back into Baltimore territory. A couple plays later, Goff going to throw for Brock Wright, and Wright's going to fumble it, and it's going to get picked up by Roquan Smith of the Ravens. So the Ravens get the ball back. A couple plays later, Jackson, play action, rolls to his right, but the defense waiting for him. Alex Anzalone takes him down 10 yards back. They're forced to punt. On the Lions' drive after that punt, Goff throws for Amon-Ra St. Brown. This time, not quite as much distance, even though he didn't have to jump for it. A 56-yard catch. However, a couple plays later, Justin Madubuike gets an 8-yard sack on him, so that means Riley Patterson has to come in with his leg. 55-yard field goal puts the Lions up 13-7. Still one-score game. On the Ravens' drive, next drive, Jackson going to get sacked on the play-action roll to his right by Alex Anzalone. 10-yard sack. A couple plays later, Jackson going to try it again. Same result. Alex Anzalone, 10-yard sack. They're forced to punt. End of the second quarter, Riley Patterson makes a 46-yard field goal, puts the Lions up by 9. Third quarter, Riley Patterson tries for a 53-yard field goal, but he doesn't make it, so it's still a 9-point game. Very next play, Jackson looks and fires for Odell Beckham Jr., who is wide open. He's going to make a 50-yard catch here. That'll help to set up Justin Tucker with the 29-yard field goal. 16-10, Lions still have the lead. A couple plays later in the drive for the Lions, Roquan Smith gets a 10-yard sack. That forces the Lions to punt. Jackson will hand it off to J.K. Dobbins on their next drive when they're deep into Lions territory, but he fumbles the ball. He bounces around before it's finally picked up by Derek Barnes of the Lions, and he's going to take this one back into Baltimore territory, even if it's shallow Baltimore territory. Fourth quarter, Goff going to look for Brock Wright. This time, connects with him. 6-yard touchdown, puts the Lions up 23-10. A couple plays later, for the Falcons, Jackson tries to play action roll to his right. Cam Sutton gets to him. Very next play, 3rd and 20. Jackson going to hand it off to J.K. Dobbins. Dobbins going to fumble the ball, but it bounces out of bounds, so the Lions can't quite connect with it. 4th down. Jackson throws for Rashad Bateman, but it's incomplete, so it's a turnover on downs. and just to fully put it away, Jahmyr Gibbs trying to punch it in. He fumbles the ball, however, and it's recovered by Marcus Williams of the Ravens. So, Ravens still have a chance. Jackson rolls to his right, fumbles on a strip sack, and it's picked up by Cam Sutton, who gets the 14-yard scoop and score. It's 30-10. Lions have all but won this game. But, just to make it worse, Aiden Hutchinson gets a 6-yard sack that forces a turnover on downs, and Riley Patterson, let's give him some more points. 20-yard field goal, 33-10. Lions will win this one. They will go to 5-1, and they take on the Raiders next week. Baltimore drops to 1-5, and they have to head to Arizona. Now for a battle to determine the leader of the AFC West. The Chargers heading out to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. Austin Eckler returns for Los Angeles. Marquez Valdes-Scantling returns for Kansas City. First quarter, Cameron Dickers attempted 42-yard field goal nearly gets deflected. Unfortunately, it dunks off the right upright, so he stays scoreless. On the Chiefs' first drive of the game, throw from Marquez Valdes-Scantling gets picked off by Derwin James Jr., who's going to take it back the other way for the Chargers. A couple plays into the drive, Herbert going to try and run forward with it, but the defense, Willie Gay, finds him and takes him down before he can get any further. So they have to rely on Cameron Dickers' leg again. This time it's a 26-yarder. 3-0. Chargers get on the board first. On the Chiefs' first drive of the game, Mahomes going to try something that didn't work for a lot of teams this week. Play action roll to his right. This time it does work as he throws for Kadarius Toney, who's going to score a 42-yard touchdown to make it Chiefs 7-3. On the next drive for the Chargers, we're going to try and run forward. He's going to find the defensive line, and Chris Jones is going to take him down. 4-yard sack. Very next play, Herbert drops back, throws from Mike Williams. Mike Williams pretty much wide open. He's going to take this one for a 37-yard touchdown as the Dodgers tackle. 10-7 as we go into the second quarter. Second quarter, Mahomes, play action, roll to his right. He's going to look for and find Kadarius Toney, and Kadarius Toney going to take this one 52 yards before he's finally taken down. That's all right, because a couple plays later, Mahomes is going to throw for Isaiah Pacheco, 1-yard touchdown, makes it 14-10 Chiefs. On the ensuing kickoff by the Chargers, Darius Davis is going to take it 26 yards. Unfortunately, he's also going to be injured on this kick return, so Joshua Kelly going to come in for both kick returns and punt returns in his place. The Chargers would drive down the length of the field, and Herbert going to drop back before throwing over the middle for Austin Eckler for a 7-yard touchdown, 17-14 Chargers. On the Chiefs' next drive, Mahomes is going to get wrapped up before taken down by Sebastian Joseph Day, 8-yard sack. Very next play, Mahomes, play action, roll to his right. He's going to look for Kadarius Toney. Toney, he's going to take this one 53 yards into LA territory before he's finally taken down. A couple plays later, Mahomes going to try it again. Play action roll to his right, but this time the defense expecting it, he's going to fumble the ball. It's going to get picked up by J.C. Jackson. Jackson, can he? Could he? Will he? After dodging one tackle, he's going to break another, and yes, he will. A 70-yard scoop and score makes it 24-14 Chargers at the end of the half. Third quarter, Mahomes tries it again. This time, Khalil Mack reintroduces himself, an 11-yard sack. Very next play, Mahomes tries it again. This time, it's a 10-yard sack, pushing him back even further. So they're forced to punt. Austin Eckler going to punch it in from 2 yards out on the first drive of the Chargers in the second half. So it's 31-14 Los Angeles. But the Chiefs, when they get the ball back, they're going to drive down the field. Mahomes going to try this play action roll to the right again. This time, he finds Kadarius Toney for an 11-yard touchdown. 31-21 Chargers. On the ensuing drive for the Chargers, Willie Gay gets a 10-yard sack. So, as they drive down the field, they got to rely on Cameron Dickers' leg. A 51-yard field goal nearly blocked, but it goes through this time, 34-21 Chargers. Mahomes going to run forward and throw for MVS in the fourth quarter. Unfortunately, once again, he finds Derwin James Jr. A couple plays later, L'Jarius Sneed is going to find and take down Justin Herbert for a 2-yard sack. Very next play, Herbert drops back. Throw is from Mike Williams, and Mike Williams is going to make a 19-yard touchdown, 41-21 Chargers. Into the Chiefs drive, Mahomes needs some desperation. Play action roll to his right. Throws for Kadarius Toney. Kadarius Toney is going to get into the red zone, but not quite score on a 51-yard catch. Very next play, though, Mahomes is going to get wrapped up and stopped by Morgan Fox. Play after that, Mahomes going to try this again. Play action roll to his right. Toney not even close to being covered on the 17-yard touchdown, 41-28 Chargers. On the next drive for the Chargers, Austin Eckler going to fumble the ball, and it's going to get recovered by Nick Bolton of the Chiefs. However, a couple plays later in the drive, Mahomes gets reintroduced once again to Khalil Mack, a 7-yard sack. But Mahomes, play action, roll to his right, running for his life as he throws for Kadarius Toney. Toney going to make this a 50-yard touchdown catch, 41-35. This game's still very much in reach. Then Herbert can get found and taken down by Derek Nunati, the nose tackle, for a 6-yard sack. A couple plays later, Herbert going to throw for Keenan Allen, 26-yard touchdown catch, going to put this game away. It's 48-35. Richie James going to try and give the Chiefs some chance. Not that it'll matter, but a 41-yard kick return is still very impressive. And for the final play of the game, Isaiah Pacheco, he's going to at least try to make this look closer than what it was with a one-score game. A 43-yard run, though, just shy of the end zone. Oh, maybe by a few extra yards. Chargers pull away with the victory on this one, 48-35. They go to 4-1. Their next game is against Chicago. Meanwhile, Kansas City, they drop to 4-2, and they head to Denver next week. Both of those should be easy wins for these teams, but the Chargers now have control of the AFC West. Now for a battle between division leaders. 49ers taking on the Vikings. First quarter, Cousins going to play action before throwing for Justin Jefferson, who leaps up to catch this ball. He's going to make it 54 yards, but he's going to be shy of the end zone. But that's all right, because a couple plays later, going to give it to Alexander Mattison for the 2-yard punch-in. Vikings get on the board first, 7-0. On the 49ers' first drive, Sammy D throws for Sammy. Deebo Samuel going to take this one 59 yards. However, he's even further away from the end zone than what Justin Jefferson was. A couple plays later, though, Darnold patiently waits and throws for Deebo Samuel. Again, 6-yard touchdown catch ties the game up at 7. On the next drive of the Vikings, Cousins gets wrapped up and taken down by Nick Bosa for a 10-yard sack. But they'll drive down the field, and Alexander Mattison punches in from 5 yards out, 14-7 Vikings. But Sam Darnold throws for Brandon Ayuk for an 8-yard touchdown catch, makes it 14-14 as we go into the second quarter. Cousins going to get found and taken down by Isaiah Oliver, 9-yard sack. So they got to rely on Greg Joseph's leg for a 43-yard field goal. It goes through, 17-14 Vikings. But the 49ers would drive down the field, and Darnold going to throw for Deebo Samuel yet again, 31-yard touchdown catch, makes it 21-17 49ers. Vikings would drive down the field again, but Greg Joseph has to make the field goal. 41-yard field goal makes it a 1-point game. On the 49ers' next drive, Darnold going to get wrapped up before taken down by Dean Lowry, 4-yard sack. A couple plays later, Darnold breaks free of a tackle before throwing for Deebo Samuel, who leaps up to avoid getting tackled himself. He's going to get a 54-yard catch here. A couple plays later, Darnold, play action, going to look to his right for Brandon Ayuk for the 15-yard touchdown catch. 28-20, 49ers have the lead. Third quarter, Darnold drops back before throwing for Brandon Ayuk, but he gets picked off by Harrison Smith. He's going to take it backwards a little bit. A couple plays into the very next play, actually, for the Vikings. Cousins going to get wrapped up before taken down by Tashawn Gibson for a 3-yard sack. So they drive down the field, but they have to rely on Greg Joseph's leg. 28-23, 49ers still have the lead. On the 49ers' next drive, Darnold, offensive line gets broken down. Brian Asamoah gets the 6-yard sack for a safety. Vikings would drive down the field, but Nick Bosa gets a sack of his own, a 10-yard sack. So they have to rely on Greg Joseph's leg again. He ties it up at 28 with a 44-yard field goal. 49ers would drive down the field. Darnold going to toss it to Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey, he's going to take this one to the end zone. 27-yard touchdown run, 35-28 49ers. On the ensuing drive for the Vikings, throw for Alexander Mattison gets picked off by Charvarius Ward. So, fourth quarter, Darnold going to look carefully, throws for George Kittle, who's already barely in the end zone, 10-yard touchdown catch, 42-28. On the Vikings' next drive, Cousins tries to run forward, but he gets taken down by Eric Armstead. A couple plays after that, Cousins going to get wrapped up and taken down by Isaiah Oliver deeper down the field, but they keep going. Cousins, play action, throws for Justin Jefferson. Jefferson, he's going to avoid getting the attempted pass for him picked off, and he's going to make this one 66 yards. Pretty dang good, I'd say. Very next play, Alexander Mattison punches in from 5 yards out. It's 42-35, 49ers still have the lead. Jake Moody going to kick a 39-yard field goal to make it a 10-point lead for San Francisco. However, Vikings drive down the field. Alexander Mattison punches in from 5 yards out, 45-42. Vikings would try for the onside kick. Unfortunately, they won't get it. Deebo Samuel going to secure this onside kick for the 49ers, and he's going to keep on going. Then Darnold's going to try and push it away with a pass for Kyle Juszczyk. Unfortunately, he gets picked off by Harrison Smith, so the Vikings still have life in them. Hand off to Alexander Mattison. Mattison going to get the first down and more. They have time for one more play. Barely 2 seconds to go. Cousins in shotgun formation. Plenty of time. Looking around. Fires for Justin Jefferson. Jefferson has a length of a ways to go, and there are plenty of 49ers waiting to take him down. Could he make it? No, he won't. The 49ers are going to win this one 45-42. They're going to go to 4-2. They have the lead in the division. They take on Cincinnati next week. Minnesota drops to 4-2. They no longer have the lead for the NFC North, but they head to Green Bay next week to take on the Packers in our Week 8 Game of the Week. And finally, the Dolphins taking on the Eagles. First quarter, DeAndre Swift going to take this one in from 5 yards out. 7-0. Eagles take the lead. But the Dolphins on their first drive going to drive down the field. Raheem Mostert, 14-yard touchdown, ties this game up at 7. Next, Eagles possession. Hurts going to get taken out by Bradley Chubb for an 8-yard sack. A couple plays later, Hurts, play action. The defense waiting for him. Bradley Chubb gets a safety. It's 9-7 Dolphins. They drive down the field, and Jason Sanders has to kick a 51-yard field goal. It's 12-7 Dolphins. Second quarter, Hurts going to try and run with it himself. Going to roll forward, and he's going to fumble the ball and the tackle. It's going to get picked up by Xavier Howard, and Howard going to take it back the other way. However, Dolphins can't quite do anything with it, so Jason Sanders, 42-yard field goal, makes it 15-7 after it boinks off the right upright. Next drive for the Eagles, Hurts going to throw for Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith, can he? Could he? Will he? He will. It's 15-14 on the ensuing kickoff. Braxton Berrios, he's going to get wrapped up. He's going to fumble the ball. He gets picked up by the Eagles, so they got great field position for Hurts to connect with A.J. Brown to the right side. Brown makes a 9-yard touchdown catch, 21-15 Eagles on the ensuing Dolphins drive. The defensive line breaks through, and it's Josh Sweat that gets the 9-yard sack. Dolphins are forced to punt. Hurts tries a play action, but the defense waiting for him. Bradley Chubb gets a 10-yard sack. That means they have to rely on Jake Elliott's leg. 24-15 Eagles going into halftime, third quarter. Eagles get the ball back. Hurts tries to roll forward. He's going to run with it himself. And you know what? He says, I'm just going to take it in for a touchdown. 27-yard run makes it 31-15 on the ensuing drive for the Dolphins. Hand off to Raheem Mostert. Mostert going to fumble the ball as he's taken out from behind. It's picked up by Darius Slay. Slay going to recover the fumble. He's going to fight for every last yard that he can. Very next play, though, Hurts dropping back, and he's going to throw for A.J. Brown to the right side. 33-yard touchdown makes it 38-15 Eagles. Then, Tua going to throw to his left for Tyreek Hill. Nearly gets picked off, but Hill too fast to stop. 50-yard touchdown catch makes it 38-22 Eagles. However, the Eagles would drive down the field, and A.J. Brown gets a 2-yard touchdown, 45-22. On the kickoff return, Braxton Berrios dodging and weaving around as time expires for the third quarter. He finally gets taken down after a 33-yard kick return. Then, fourth down. Tua going to run with himself, 4-yard run, fourth down converted. Going to toss it to Raheem Mostert for an 8-yard punch in after he bobs and weaves around teams, juking everywhere, 45-29 Eagles. Hurts going to drive down the field before throwing for Quez Watkins for a 6-yard touchdown, 52-29. Tua throws for Durham Smythe, 9-yard touchdown catch, makes it 52-36. Jake Elliott going to make some more points for the Eagles, 40-yard field goal makes it 55-36. And on the very next play, Braxton Berrios going to get hurt on a 13-yard kick return. Whether or not he's going to be hurt next week or further beyond, we don't know. But if he is hurt, Jeff Wilson Jr. will come in to replace him on kick and punt returns. Still, Eagles pull away with a decisive 55-36 victory. Next week for both of these teams are rematches for both of them. Dolphins get the Patriots down in Miami, a place the Patriots have struggled recently. Meanwhile, Philly gets a rematch of Week 4's game as they head to Washington to take on the Commanders. Before we go, however, let's take a look at the standings around the NFL. Starting with the AFC East. The Bills have possession of this conference at 5-1. followed behind by the Dolphins and Patriots, tied at 3-3. Those two teams will face each other next week. That should be interesting. And the Jets are down at the bottom at 2-3, half a game behind both of them. In the AFC North, the Bengals at 5-0. You'd expect they'd be pulling away with it, but they're only half a game ahead of the Browns at 4-1. Right behind them are the Steelers at 3-2, and way behind Pittsburgh is Baltimore at 1-5. Going down to the AFC South, still anyone's division. The Titans do have the lead, but only at 3-2, followed a game behind by the Houston Texans and Jacksonville Jaguars at 2-3, and the Colts only a game and a half behind both of them at 1-5. And in the AFC West, the Chargers now retake the lead of the division at 4-1, followed behind by the Chiefs at 4-2, and behind both of them by a significant margin of 2 games are the Raiders and Broncos at 2-4. Moving on to the NFC. In the East, the Cowboys currently possess the lead at 4-1, but still nipping at their heels are the Eagles, who are at 3-3. The Commanders right behind them at 2-4, and 2 games behind Washington are the Giants, who are still winless at 0-6. In the NFC North, it's the Lions that currently maintain the sole possession of the lead at 5-1. They're only half a game ahead of the Packers, who had a bye week this week. They're at 4-1, and they're only a half game ahead of the Vikings, who they play next week at 4-2. And the Bears all the way down to the basement at 1-5. Going into the NFC South, it's the Panthers who currently have the lead at 4-1, but the Falcons literally half a game behind them, right behind them at 4-2. Good 2 games behind them are the Buccaneers at 2-4, and a game behind them, the New Orleans Saints at 1-5. And finally, in the NFC West, it's the 49ers that currently still have the lead at 4-2. They're a half game ahead of the Seahawks, who are at 3-2, and they are a game and a half ahead of the LA Rams at 2-4. A game behind LA are the Cardinals at 1-5. And that'll do it for this week's edition of Tecmo Rewind. I want to thank you all for sticking by us, even though we were having some trouble and some technical difficulties that were delaying the broadcast of Tecmo Rewind. Join us here on Sunday for our Week 8 Game of the Week between the Minnesota Vikings and the Green Bay Packers, and join us for a special Halloween edition of Tecmo Rewind here on October 31st to cover Week 8. For all of us here at SVGN, the Sports Video Game Network, I'm Joe saying good night, everybody!